Hello and welcome to Seymour Community School Corporation. I'm Lisa Ferguson, Assistant Superintendent at Seymour Schools, and today I am going to be speaking with you about a booklet that we put together for new hires and substitute teachers for our school district. So if you would, pull that booklet out and we'll get started talking about the contents. As you look at the booklet, the first thing that you'll see on the first page is a lot of contact information. You also have a welcome sentiment from our superintendent and the assistant superintendents. Please take time to read over these. One of the purposes of this booklet is so that you have something tangible that you can refer to throughout the school year for bits of information that are important to you as you serve the students in our district. And this first page has a lot of information that you'll need throughout the school year. For one thing, it has all of the addresses, the contacts, the principals, assistant principals, addresses. You also see a list of our central office personnel. This will be key if you have questions about particular aspects of your job. You'll have folks that you will know who to contact for those items. For example, if you have a question about your paycheck, you would contact our payroll specialist. Or if you are a substitute and you have questions about your substitute teaching, you would contact Lita Albrand. So please keep this booklet handy. It has all of the information that you need in order to make contact and hook up with the correct people that will be able to answer your question. For our main central office, if you look at the main heading, you'll see it also has our address, our phone number, and it has the address for the website for our school district. The www.sesc.k12.in.us link will take you to our website, and at our website there's a multitude of tabs and bits of information that you may find helpful as you work with students in our schools. Okay, this next couple of pages deal with general expectations and responsibilities. One of the purposes of this booklet is to call attention to these items. By no means are these all inclusive of everything that we expect or the responsibilities that you will be required to do while working in our schools. But it is a nice start, and we are going to go through these item by item. You can see that they're listed by item, and there's a bit of an explanation after each item. One of the things that we've tried to do in this booklet that's different than past booklets is to talk about why we have these expectations and what your role is in our school community. Because for most of these items, you're going to think, oh my goodness, that is such a common sense type of thing. Why do they have to call that out, or why are they bringing my attention to it? It's because these items are items that we have over the course of time dealt multiple times with individuals who chose to ignore the expectation and face consequences, and in some cases dire consequences, because they chose to ignore the guidance that's provided in this booklet and through the folks that work in our building. So let's get started on these. These are 23 items that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to go through them first, and then I am going to touch on just a few specifically. Let's start with number 1. It is critical that you have good attendance and are prompt each day. Be visible to students or in the hallway before and after school passing periods unless otherwise assigned. Build positive professional relationships with students and staff. Gain respect of the students and staff by being prompt, patient, and enthusiastic. Dress professionally. No tank tops, see-through blouses, shorts, jeans. Business casual is the rule of thumb for classroom work. For many positions, Seymour provides a uniform. No students are to leave the classroom without a pass. Do not send ill students to the office alone. Send an escort. It is important for all staff members to be vigilant. Always be attentive to students and your surroundings. Please report anything suspicious to the office. All employees are ambassadors for our school system. Under no circumstance should employees make derogatory comments concerning the students, staff, or teachers in a building. Employees are expected to maintain the confidentiality of all information related to students, staff, their performance, and academic achievement. Be sure all confidential materials are put away. Do not leave them unattended. Examples are the gradebook, tests, IEPs. If such materials are discovered, please report this to administration. Never leave students unattended. No profanity. Please choose your words wisely. Injuries must be reported to the office immediately. This means student injury and personal injury. Do not collect money from students. Employees will refrain from accepting and giving gifts to students, staff, and parents. Do not dispense medications of any kind to students. Employees are expected to observe boundaries. Boundaries include verbal, physical, emotional, and social distances that an educator employees must maintain in order to ensure structure, security, predictability in an educational environment. As part of establishing these boundaries, employees are to be referred to as Mr., Mrs., Miss, or Ms. No person, including parents, should be in a building or visit a classroom without the approval of the principal and/or his designee. No outside agency or person, including parents, is to question or interview a student except in the presence of the principal. The use of cell phones and pagers is not allowed during instructional time or in the presence of students. Employees are not permitted to advertise products or services. Do not leave personal items unattended. Seymour Community School Corporation is not responsible for any loss or damage that occurs. If you have questions or unsure of procedures, contact the office, your building principal, or talk with others you work with each day. Employees are expected to exhibit ethical conduct to uphold policies, laws, and regulations. Employees may not keep students after hours without explicit approval by administration. Employees have no reason to gather student phone numbers nor text students. All employees are to observe the acceptable use policy when utilizing computers in any Seymour school. You can find a copy of this policy on the website under Technology. Documented impairment of learning or any action which may lead to physical, emotional, psychological, sexual, intellectual damage to a student or a member of the school community could result in legal action and/or loss of employment. These are the 23 items that we felt the need to pull forward. And I'm going to go back and touch on just a few just to highlight and further drive home the point that these are important for very good reasons. The first one would be good attendance and being prompt. Schools run on schedules. There are specific times when students arrive, when they leave, they go to specials, they go to lunch. And running a smooth system depends on our ability to adhere to those schedules and to be on time. Sometimes folks think of school as an extension of their personal lives. Oh, if I'm a couple minutes late, it won't matter. It matters very much. It can matter for getting students to where they need to be on time. It can matter because students are left unattended. Being prompt and on assignment on time is very important, and failure to do so can result in being removed from the substitute list or losing your position in our school. There are several that are related here on building relationships with students and staff, observing boundaries, all those types of things. We remind you that you are the adult in the classroom, the adult in the building, the adult in the hallway, and as such, there are boundaries. You are not their friend. We can be friendly with our students, and we expect you to be so with our students, but we are not their friends. We do not interact with them on the same level as a friend, and you need to think about professional boundaries, and that includes not only with students but with other teachers, other employees that work in our building. The next one that I would pull out is dress professionally. We give some examples of things not to do. I would say that a good rule of thumb here is we should be able to tell a difference between you and the students that are walking the hallways. You should have on professional attire. We do permit business casual. That means that doesn't necessarily have to be a suit and tie or a dress, but it should be professional clothing that is modest. It's not revealing in any way. You need to take into consideration what the job is that you'll be doing for that day. In some positions, for example, let's say you're a substitute teacher and you're going to be working in a PE classroom. In that instance, it is appropriate to wear tennis shoes and a sweatsuit in order to address the job duties that you may come in contact with that day. So please think about what you wear when you come to school, and is it presenting a professional view to students. Another one that I would call out, and there are a couple that are related to this, is that you never leave students unattended. We don't send students to the office, especially if they're sick, alone, or without notifying the office that they're on their way. With a student that is sick, we would never ever send that student without an escort, because there can be dire consequences. Let's say that student is on the way to the office, they pass out, they go to the restroom, they pass out. It could be a good amount of time before anyone finds that student without that escort. So that is crucial for the well-being and safety of our students. And as leaving students unattended, sometimes we've had folks that think, oh, well, I'm just going to pop over here real quick, or I'm going to go do that real quick. There is no real quick. Always, we must be attentive and supervising our students. This next one is about being vigilant. And everyone in our school system is in charge of safety. That means that you should always be alert, you should be looking around, you should be checking your surroundings, looking for anything that looks out of place that you might need to make a report on or take action on. You know, our rule of thumb around here is if you see something, say something, because that's how things are addressed. Another thing that you can have your eyes out for is never ever should a door be propped open, should be left open. Students shouldn't be opening doors for folks to get in. That's part of our safety procedures, so please keep an eye out, keep yourself safe, and keep our students safe. Another one that I would like to talk about a bit is no profanity and choosing your words wisely. Profanity, sometimes people have a hard time defining exactly what that is. And, you know, we're talking about most people understand that curse words and those types of things have no place in the school setting and around students and children. Some of the other words that can get folks into trouble, and that's why we say choose your words wisely, they're not necessarily profane, but they are words that bring out emotions in people. And we have gotten complaints over the years because people may choose wording that is upsetting to students or to their parents, or really there are better choices that could be made. For example, one that we deal with regularly is the individual is trying to get the attention of the class and they start yelling out, "Shut up, shut up, shut up." Well, shut up is not a curse word, but it probably is not the best choice in that situation. Sometimes individuals will say things like, well, that was a dumb thing to do, or, you know, you're in trouble, you're gonna sit over here at the dummy table. Well, again, those are not good choices, and they do not reflect well on you or what you're saying about the individuals that you're trying to intervene with. So those are things that we need for you to think before you talk. before you blurt things out, and make sure that you're making good choices with your words that move in a positive direction and have the appropriate impact that you're shooting for. Sometimes folks who continually make poor word choice have been removed from the sublist or lost their jobs in some instances. So this is something that is very crucial to how you're perceived, how the students perceive you, the level of authority that you have in the classroom. No one is saying that you should not correct or manage a classroom. We're just saying choose your words wisely. I'm going to make a comment about the injuries. Those always have to be reported, no matter how minor yours or the students. We do not take those things lightly, and we want them to be addressed as quickly as possible. I will tell you that sometimes injuries have resulted because, let's say somebody wanted something off of the top of something, and they pull a chair over and they stand on the chair to reach it. That's a no-no in the school setting. That puts you at risk, and it has resulted many times in broken arms, ankles, injuries, sprains, those types of things. So always use the appropriate equipment to reach, to put things up in the classroom, all of those types of things. Don't put something together quickly and stand on it. That has rarely had a positive result, and we advise our folks against doing that. Another really big item that comes up, and this is something that we continue to address with all people in this day and age, is our obsession with the cell phone and being on it all hours of the day, checking things, those types of activities. And what we say about that is, in the presence of students and during instructional time, phones should be put away. They should not be checked. They should be turned to silence. This phone, while you think you're a pretty good multitasker, things can escape your attention if you are focused on your phone rather than on the students that you're supervising. So our rule is that those cell phones should be put away in the presence of students, and consequences for that can result in job loss or reprimands. So please make sure that your phone is put away securely. Phones also, if you are ever in the buildings during a time of standardized testing, they cannot be in the classroom. IDOE has strict rules about cell phones, where they can be during testing. So make sure, if you're here during that time of year, that you're very aware of that and you have checked to make sure that you are in compliance. The other item that I would bring to your attention is that students, or not students, but our employees should not keep students after hours without explicit approval of administration. You should not be behind closed door with students. You shouldn't put yourself in a position where accusations can be made. Keep yourself safe as well as our students safe. The other thing that I would call out is, in the past we've had to deal with several individuals who, for whatever reason, decide that they want to be called something other than their name. For example, you may want the kids to call you Grandma, and while that is an endearing term, it is not professional, and it is one of those ways that you can find yourself crossing boundaries without knowing it. We ask that you're called Mr., Mrs., Ms., any of those formal titles with your last name. Don't change what your last name is. We've had individuals who have written, like my name is Miss Sub Lookout. We do not sanction that, and we are asking our folks to please just be called by your name with a title. All those types of things send a message that isn't positive and serves to deteriorate the relationships that you may have with students, and you could end up in a bit of hot water over making those types of substitutions and changes. Anytime you have a question, please contact administration, contact another teacher, contact one of the people that you see listed not only on the front but on the back page of this booklet, because we are here to help you. Alright, the other thing that is listed on this page and is mentioned throughout our general expectations and responsibilities is confidentiality. Confidentiality is not an option, it's not something we recommend, it is required. And breach of confidentiality can result in legal liability and job loss. A lot of times our folks just don't realize they're even breaching confidentiality, but any time that you're sharing information about students with someone, you're violating their confidentiality. Using names and emails, talking about something in the line at Walmart, all of those things put you at risk. And oftentimes information is passed from one individual to the next, to the next, to the next, but someone needs to stop that chain. If confidentiality is breached in an email, don't keep forwarding it. Report that to your administration and we'll get that brought back into compliance. If you hear someone spreading information about something that happened at school or school, please remind them that we're held to confidentiality and they're putting themselves at risk. So please read over this section carefully and make sure that you are observing all of the tenets of confidentiality. Okay, the next few sections that we have talk about safety, work rules, smoking, abuse, harassment, commitment to diversity. Seymour is an equal opportunity employer. All of these things basically provide the disclaimers that state what our school is about. One of the things that you'll notice about Seymour Community Schools is we are very diverse. We house a diverse population of students, both culturally and geographically from around the world. So we have programs and support systems in place for all of the students that attend our schools. Some of the things that seem very obvious are smoking is not permitted in any building. Seymour Schools is a smoke-free environment. This includes vapor and e-cigarettes. We've had that situation before where someone felt like it was break time and they needed a smoke, so they pulled over to a window and started smoking outside the window. Obviously, we're a non-smoking environment, so that means everywhere, no smoking. If at any time you feel like you're being harassed in any form, please make a report. We take this very seriously and we will follow up on that without delay. There is a section on working out problems and being an effective communicator. One of the things that happens anytime you have people together, conflicts can arise. We ask that you utilize our help to resolve any types of issues that might come up. Our principals and staff stand ready to help and assist you in any way that they can. These just provide a few communication suggestions that may help facilitate a resolution to whatever issue you're dealing with. At the bottom of the page, you'll see we have weather information on cancellations. You can also check our website. We have a little traffic light that's either red, green, to tell you if school is in session or if we're closed for that day. You can see the radio stations, the TV stations that you can check that will give you a heads up that school is in session or out of session for a particular day. Also on this page, you'll see that there's some information about technology. Technology in Seymour Schools, we primarily use Chromebooks. Students have access to the internet. We have acceptable use policies, as we've said, that you can find on our website. Chromebooks are expected to be cared for They're expected to be treated with respect. So if you see someone abusing their Chromebook, we need to address that. The technology for our schools in K through 12, we are working for all students to have access in some fashion. Right now in 5 through 12, we have a one-to-one program in place. That means that students are provided with kind of a bag that they can carry their device in. Their chargers are expected to be at home. They charge them at night and they bring them each day fully charged, ready to go. There are instances where something isn't charged. Each classroom has one charger that should be available so that you can permit the student to do some charging during the day. The device itself, the students should understand how they work and what they need to do. Many of the teachers provide their instruction through Google and Google Documents, Google Sites, Google platforms. So those may be some things to become familiar with. Social media is a big part of our lives today. You'll know that students, you'll hear them talking about things such as Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, all of those things, and Seymour supports the responsible use of all forms of media. What I will say is that as far as our employees are concerned, or substitute teachers, those types of things, we do ask our students to sign a permission for their images, video, the things that they produce, those types of things to be used for school purposes. Your individual Facebook, your individual websites or chat rooms, all those types of things, that permission does not cover you should you post pictures of students. If you have a need or desire to post a student picture, you need to make sure that you submit that through the office. Each one of our buildings has their own media that they produce, get the good news out about their schools. So that would be for school use on a school website. If you post pictures of students on your personal, you accept the liability for that. There are students in our buildings who do not want their information shared due to safety concerns, those types of things. So please do not post pictures or information about students on your personal sites. Always work through the office. We would love to get the good news out about what's going on in our classrooms, but let's do it in a way that keeps our students safe. I'll say a word or two about email. Email is not private, does not belong to the individual in the district. It is saved for multiple years, and anything that you put in that email is open to the public. It's a public record. So anything that you put in an email, you should feel comfortable to see that as a headline in the newspaper. It is, sometimes folks want to use email to avoid the personal contact. I suggest that email has a definite use in our schools and for our school purposes, but don't overlook the benefit of face-to-face contact and conversations with people. Internet is the same way. Internet usage can be tracked in our district. We keep track of these records over multiple years. We have acceptable use for our students and our teachers. It's not just like your personal kinds of connections at home. So please observe all acceptable use policies when you're using email and internet in our buildings. I've provided a link here at the bottom. You can see that is our website. When you go there, especially under technology, you'll find policies, information, guidance on the use of technology and social media in our schools. Okay, and just to wrap things up here, you are now part of a trained professional group that supports the instruction of students and promotes a safe learning environment. Whether you are a substitute teacher, teacher in the classroom, a cook, a janitor, any employee that works in our school system, an aide, you are part of this professional group. You support the instruction of students. The completion of your job helps us make sure that students are served in their environment to the best of our ability to reach their full potential. One of the things that we are going to provide is sort of a top 10 type summary, a shorter version of this that you'll find available on the websites that we share. Just another way to summarize what we've talked about with this booklet. I hope that you will keep this booklet available and refer to it often throughout your time working with Seymour Community Schools. We are thrilled to have you on our team, and we stand ready to support you in any way that we can. We thank you in advance for your service, and we welcome you to our team. Thanks.